Hello, it's Lynn Watts here again with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books. And today I want to tell you about another way that you can use both the elementary school counselor's lesson plans, stories to learn by book, all right, which is right here, and use that in addition to the picture book. Wyatt the Wonder Dog learns about good manners. And in this particular picture book, the good manners that Wyatt learns about have to do with manners between friends. So, in this particular case, his friend Max, who you might know from other picture books, other Wyatt books, is pretty bossy. And this is the one where he is all the time telling Wyatt what they're going to play, he doesn't help out with cleaning up, lots of different problems. And Wyatt is very unsure what to do about that. He doesn't want to lose Max as a friend, but at the same time, he needs for Max to behave differently and obviously to use good manners. So I won't ruin the story by telling you what happens in the end, but basically, Wyatt finds his voice. And that's a very important part of the book is that he learns how to use the I statement and to let someone know how he feels and how he would like them to behave differently. So the story in itself is a complete lesson with discussion questions in the back and an activity. However, if you want to use the story across grade levels, which it certainly is very easy to do, I would recommend the Stories to Learn by book. And in fact, I would recommend getting the whole combo pack where you get all 9 of the picture books and the Stories to Learn by and the Wyatt puppet, and use that to develop lessons across the grade level. So obviously you could use this as a theme for an entire month because what what grade level does not need help with how to resolve friendship conflicts? I mean, how much time do you spend sitting down with kids that are having conflicts between friends? So this is a great lesson to teach in the classroom, and then you can certainly use a lot of the materials individually. So each one of the sections on a book, there is a lesson plan that is ASCA aligned. There's the materials, there are essential questions, and then there is activities. In particular, this one has a whole several sheets of different problem situations that you could have kids either draw one out of a hat and talk about how they would solve that problem, or maybe they could role play it with a partner. There's so many different things you can do. There's a list of all the different feeling words so that kids have some ideas about feelings that they could use in the feeling statement. And then, of course, there's an assessment sheet, like in all of them. There's an activity, there's a word search activity, and there's lots of coloring sheets. So how might you use that along with the puppet, which comes with the combo pack? Well, here's Wyatt, of course. And the way that I often did this is, first of all, I collected a lot of puppets. I had a whole bucket of puppets that I brought to the kindergarten and the younger classes. And I would use the Wyatt puppet to talk, and then I would have the students one by one pick one of the puppets out, and then they would talk to Wyatt with that puppet. So let's say, for instance, Wyatt's having a conflict and he's not sure what to do about his friend being very bossy. And so maybe Wyatt says to the individual child that you've called up with their puppet, he says, I feel frustrated when you boss me around and always decide what we're going to play. I want you to give me a turn at picking out what to play. Okay. And then the other student could answer for that friend who is being bossy. And maybe they're going to say, and this is often the case, maybe they'll say, oh, I'd be glad to do that. What would you like to play? Or maybe they're going to say, I didn't realize I was being bossy. Is that not often the case? Or they might say, You never said anything, so I thought you liked me always deciding what we were going to play. Okay, so you give them an opportunity to help work out the problem. Now, of course, Wyatt doesn't have to do the whole I statement to start out with. Maybe he just says what the problem is. I need to talk to you about being so bossy, and then the other child responds with their puppet. So the beauty of puppets is that, especially for, well, first of all, kids love puppets, but for that child who maybe has trouble um, getting up in front of class and speaking for themselves, if they have a puppet that they're going to talk for, that suddenly becomes much more fun and easier, and they can kind of step outside of themselves and outside of their fears. So the way I would do that, then I would have children sitting on the floor and have one at a time come up. We'd interact with the puppet. Then I would use something else, for instance, a word search. I give them a copy of the word search. They could go to their desk, and I'd move on to the next child. And I could, in 30, 40 minutes in one of my lessons, I could easily work through the whole group and give everybody a chance to practice whatever type of interaction we're trying to practice. And also I have something for them to engage them to do, so they're not just wiggling around and talking while somebody else is having a turn. So that's one easy way that you can use puppets and involve kids in particular stories. You can do it in lots of different stories, but I frequently did it in this particular one. Wyatt learns about good manners. So the whole combo pack together, you get all 9 books, you get a puppet, and you get the book of stories to learn by lesson plans that gives you enough things to keep you busy in a classroom the entire year. You could pick one book as a theme, use it across the grade levels, because the lesson plans have something for every grade level to do, not just the younger ones with the puppets. All right, I hope that helps. I hope you'll check out Wyatt the Wonder Dog combo pack. And thanks as always for all the wonderful things that you do to help children. Thanks from Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books.